Me.
Yeah, mate, that first one alone, that was the worst one. I just would have liked to have seen you do it.
I want to do that workout. I am thinking about doing that workout. I have this a period of time where I'm home before I hit the road again. It's so strange for me because when I was like coaching full time and I was in the gym more regularly, I would test workouts. I would do the quarterfinals, semifinals, or versions of those workouts all the time. The biggest challenge for me right now is that my capacity is actually decent, but my strength and strength stamina is not up to par with the capacity. So if I do a workout with 50 clean and jerks, like I could do that workout. Probably I would choose to do it at 135 to have a similar effect, but it would make me a lot more sore than I want it to. So I'm like trying to eliminate, any kind of symptoms of like rhabdo or something closely when I come back and work out. Like I've been training with a couple of the guys here that they're doing big volume, but I just have to be smart.
Yeah, absolutely, because there is a decent amount of volume in that workout alone.
Yeah.
And like now for me, it's like getting ready for something like that plus 4 more events that day, right? So
Yeah.
Let's get ready for the volume.
Well, Harry Lightfoot, thank you for joining us, man. I just want to say before anything else, it was a pleasure to watch you compete at the semifinals this year. Like, obviously we'll talk about some of your competitive history and what you've gone through to get to where you're at. But it was really fun watching you compete. You put yourself up in that top heat, from the start and stayed there and looked like you belonged there for most of the workouts. Which is really cool because obviously there's a lot of talent in Europe.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But, you're still a young man. You're only 25 years old. And I was thinking to myself, that
He's had a
grin.
tough paper round.
And I was thinking to myself, I don't really know much about Harry Lightfoot, the young man. And so I did a little digging myself, Stevan style, for you. And I went back and tracked your Instagram back to the beginning.
Okay, what are you going to pull out on me? Because I'm worried now.
Nothing. Just it goes back to I think 2015, which is maybe 9-10 years ago now, and you were a teenager, and so you get to I don't do that for very many athletes. Some of the other athletes we've had on recently in 2015, they were already competing as a elite athlete in CrossFit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I was first of all trying to get my UK geography correct. So my understanding is that you're from a region called Cornwall.
That's right.
Which is in the southwest part of the UK.
That's right.
And the main reason I was trying to figure out this morning, because most people, if they think about sports and the UK, they think about football or soccer. But that was not your sport growing up, was it?
No. For me, it was rugby.
And I did this kind of fun search on a Google Maps thing where I searched the locations of all the rugby teams in the UK, and there are a ton, like possibly more than football teams, it looks like.
Do you think?
I don't know, but it's at least as many. And what I really wanted to ask you was, how popular is the sport of rugby in the UK compared to soccer?
In the UK, right, soccer, and this is just how like it's gone with history. Is like rugby is almost like been like a posh man's game, like a more money behind it, and football is a poor man's game. And I think football. I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Football just grew, and it's probably way more popular than rugby. But from where I'm from, like my region, so they're called counties, just like you guys have got states. Probably like back in Cornwall, rugby, cricket, and surfing are probably like the biggest sports you can do back in home. Maybe even things like skateboarding and BMXing as well are quite high. You go to like Wales, again, massive. Like if you look at that country's tiny, like Wales is tiny. It's part of obviously the UK, but they can field a pretty strong rugby team to compete in the World
Yeah.
Cup and stuff. So yeah, rugby's pretty big over here. Probably, like I said, football, like soccer, it becomes way higher than that though, unfortunately. But
It's
wasn't my background.
no, and down in that part of the country, there's not like from what I could tell, there's not like a huge, there's no Arsenal or Chelsea or even Southampton over there. Like the big football clubs are not in Cornwall.
No, we have like I don't follow football. Like we have Plymouth Argyle, so that's in Devon. So that's the neighbouring county. There he is. That's the neighbouring county, and like I think they're one below or I might be wrong. Like someone will come back and bite me here, but I think they're championship level or one below, which is a good standard. But like you're I'm trying to think of the biggest football club near
Yeah,
miles
just
out.
I just don't think there is one over there. And I was,
No, not in that sort of part of the UK.
so if you're a young man growing up down in Cornwall and you want to play football or you're a big football fan, who's your team and like what are your ambitions, or is it kind of a difficult place to make it from?
Again, I reckon, like I've got a friend that when he was younger, he's a really talented footballer, and he sort of went through the academy program at Plymouth Argyle. Um, but like I've only got like a handful of friends that have sort of gone through that football route. Like rugby, on the other hand, it's like Exeter Chiefs is like the class in Devon again, and you have like loads of colleges around that have um, academy setups. So everyone like is interested in going to these colleges with Exeter Chiefs Academy written all over it, and they try and sort of make their way in that way, or otherwise play at sort of local rugby clubs. Like I know plenty of people that have played like the club that I played for that have gone through to play like Premiership level. Um, so yeah, it's more like I said. I only know, like from me growing up, I only know a couple of lads that have maybe played a decent enough level of football, but rugby is probably bigger in where I'm from.
The that part of the country being, I mean, when I look at it and I think about even, the UK, you can drive from the bottom to the top of it in a day if you wanted to, but it's a decent trip. Um, when you grow up in that part of the country, is London and, the Manchester and Birmingham, are these big cities, like, do they feel like they're far away? Or are
Yeah,
those
Miles, we're so isolated where we are. Like to go to London, like for me, that's like a big, like a little Cornish boy's big day out in the big city, right? And it's like 4 hours on the train, and it's all really overwhelming. Where like you go back home for me, and you're 20-30 minutes drive from anyone you know, and it's really quite isolated little towns everywhere, towns and villages everywhere. So yeah, going to big cities like that is said overwhelming for a little lad like me.
are there a lot of beaches down in that part of the country? You said
Loads,
surfing's big.
yeah, loads. Like where I'm from, so I'm from a place called Callington, which I believe is the furthest town in Cornwall away from a beach. So there's a boring fact for you, but like we're right on the border of Devon, there, and we're about maybe like 40 minutes to 60 minutes away from a beach. Where like my girlfriend lives a little further down, and she's maybe like we're like a 10-minute walk from the beach, and then we could jump in the car and drive south for half an hour, and then we're at another beach on the south coast. So there is beaches everywhere.
Did you try your hand as a surfer or cricket player when you were growing up?
I've played one game of cricket, and it was for my school, and I got a goal, a GD, a golden duck. So like came on to bat and just got bowled out straight away. So that was the one game of cricket I ever played, and I spent so much money on getting like knee pads, bat, everything, helmet. And surfing, I've tried every summer. I used to say like I will try this year to learn, because all my friends sort of got into it, and then I never really like never really I don't know. I just never really like got it, or got it very. It didn't really come naturally to me very quickly. So then I never really pursued it. I think I just kept playing rugby and stuff. So that's the knives you pulled up.
I have no idea what he's pulled up there. But the last thing I wanted to ask about this Cornwall, where you grew up, is is it a good place
That
to go
that's
visit?
Cornwall. That's Cornwall.
Well, there's a lot of cities in Cornwall.
I know, but I mean that's one of the cities on the beaches that he's talking about.
Well, one city in Cornwall, and it's
Yeah.
only because it's got a cathedral, and it's not
Oh.
even a bit. You would go to it and you'd be like, "This is not even a city; it's just a big town."
So no, there's not. It's not a tourist destination.
It is. It is in the UK, because like everyone comes down. If people aren't going away in the summer, like abroad, they all come to Cornwall because of all the beaches and everything. So it is a really popular holiday destination in the summer. But yeah, apart from that, like the rest of the year, it's quite quiet.
All right, so a little bit of history. That's Cornwall, bottom
There you go.
southwest part of the UK for reference, and kind of cool just to get a little bit of a background of what it's like growing up there. When it comes to the rugby side of things, were there like is rugby in your family? Like your dad play anything like that? Uncles, or was there someone who kind of pushed you towards it?
No, for me, it was my dad let us try anything. So there's a lot of like deep farming heritage in Cornwall, and like my family have all come from an agricultural background. And my dad, when he was growing up, played a little bit of rugby in school and then for a town nearby. But um, he I think when he was like 16 or so, his parents said like, look, you got to come back and work. So he wasn't allowed to play rugby anymore. And for me and my brother, growing up, he was like, I'll let you try, like within reason, let you try whatever you want and do what you want. So yeah, he would like take us swimming, learn swimming, like rugby, different sports, football if we wanted to give it a try, tennis, all sorts. Like we were really, really lucky with when we were growing up, of how many different like sports we were exposed to. And then when I was about 9 or 10, I was at primary school and we were playing a lot of tag rugby, which is, just like, I'm sure you have tag football.
Flag football.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And eventually we went down to our local rugby club. So like when you had that map up there right at the top, there was Lanson, or Launceston, as a lot of people call it. It's always debated. But yeah, it took us down there when we were about, I believe it was like 10 or 11 years old. And yeah, just met a lot of close friends that are still very, very close to me now. And I think playing rugby, like as well as at the sporting side, it's taught me a lot of mannerisms, a lot of respect that I sort of take on now. Like there's a lot of phrases, like even when we're competing now, I'll use phrases like playing to the ref, right? So if the decisions haven't gone your way, like a judge has called something that you didn't think was right, there's nothing you can do. You just got to play along with it. So there's, like I said, there's stuff like that, mannerisms that rugby has taught me, that I think has had good crossover, as well as like the actual sport specific side of it, and all that. So yeah, no, we were very lucky when we were growing up. Just could try anything. Like if it was like there was an instrument we wanted to learn. Like my dad never got the chance to when he was younger. So he was like, let you boys try. So yeah, maybe it's a shame for him. Like it would have been interesting to see how well he could have developed in the sport of rugby when he was younger. He just never got the chance to. So
you mentioned your brother. Is it older or younger?
Twin. I've actually got a twin brother.
Twin brother.
Oh,
No,
wow.
he's a complete opposite to me. So he's really ugly, not very funny. But yeah, twin brother does, and but we are like polar opposites. So like, I'm really competitive. Yeah, there he is. I'm really, really competitive. As you can see there, like he's blonde, I'm brown. He's taller, I'm shorter. He's heavier, I'm lighter. Then it went to like, I think we went through a stage where my hair swished one way, his was the other. I'm right-handed, he's left-handed. Like everything is opposite. Yeah, everything is opposite. Apart from our eyes, we've both got brown color eyes. But yeah, just how we like. He might take things more to heart. I don't. Like everything is completely opposite. So yeah, don't even go into his side of CrossFit. He's not very good at it at all.
Has he come to watch you compete ever?
He has watched like some of my more like when I was first getting into it, like more of the local ones. He's working out. He's trying to sort of come over to the games if he can. But yeah, more of my like sort of like young like earlier stuff, I'd say. Yeah, and then I think now when he sees how blown up it is now, he's like, wow, this is different from what he remembers.
Any chance he'll watch this and see all the nice things you said about him?
I don't know actually, all the bad things I said. Let's hope he doesn't watch it. I might not forward it on to him. Might not repost another story from you.
Oh man. So, but you don't live in Cornwall anymore.
No, I moved up to Worcester in September.
There's a reason I didn't say that. There's a reason I didn't say that word, and I was going to let you say that word because I was pretty sure I would screw it up.
We had the Buttery Bros here yesterday, and like trying to say just normal English stuff for us, it was like, painful to watch. So when they were trying to say Worcestershire, we could have just left them there for 10 minutes and they still wouldn't be saying it right. So yeah, Worcester. Moved up here in September. And like I said, I've still got friends, family, and like I said, my girlfriend still lives back in Cornwall. So I do try and make it back to Cornwall as often as I can. Not as much as I'd like to, but you know, it's fine. Like I've come up to this environment here and I love it up here. But yeah, I was back at the weekend, just gone, and then I'll head back probably just before the games, maybe, or after the games, and yeah, spend a bit of the summer back home with everybody.
Is that a train, flight, drive? What's the best way for you to get down there?
Best way is probably like literally Worcester is just off one of the big, like I suppose you'd call it a highway, but a motorway here called the M5. So I just jump on that, and then it's a couple of hours down, and I'm back in Cornwall. So it's easy enough. But yeah, car's probably the easiest way.
That road runs all the way down to the end of Cornwall.
So the M5, it runs all the way down to Exeter, and then you finish off the rest of your drive on the A30, and you get to Cornwall, and then there's no motorway at all. It's just a dual carriageway all the way down.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I like that stuff. I like when I go to different countries, driving around, taking trains when I can. That to me is the best way to experience a lot of a country in a short amount of time.
Yeah, but you should try the M5 one time. It's quite nice. It's a good way of seeing a lot of the southwest of England.
Yeah, as far as the south part of England goes, I've been to London and I haven't been anywhere else. So there's a big part that I'm missing there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come to Worcester. You've got to come see what all the talk's about, because we're not even far from Birmingham there. So maybe 40 minutes.
Right. And Birmingham will host the Fit Fest again in December.
Is that happening again?
It's on their Fit Fest UK Instagram. It says December. I think it's either 6th, 7th, 8th, or 7th, 8th. And it's lists the NEC Center in Birmingham again. So I believe it is. In what capacity? I do not know. But I saw it on Instagram the other day when I was searching around.
Okay, brilliant. Were you there last year or no?
No, because it was running the same weekend as Dubai, and I was doing the broadcast in Dubai. So it was, and I kind of have this fear that they're going to be on the same weekend again this year, which that bums me out, because I feel like, you know, there's only a few competitions a year that really attract the top athletes, and if they're on the same weekend, it's okay, but I feel like it'd be better if they weren't.
Like going for like, because that's an actual competition out in Dubai. When the Fit Fest, cool as it was, it's a showcase.
Exactly.
So I get that completely. But I believe like everyone last time flew to London, and then they trained out of London.
Yeah.
And then made their way up to Birmingham. But like next time, like they should 100% come closer to us. Come to Worcester, because like I said, we're only right there, 40 minutes away from Birmingham, so it's even closer again. Good setup at Blueprint. Get all the athletes down. Get Brian in. We'll finally see if he'll do event 1 of semi-finals. See if he's built up enough volume by then, and then we'll all do it together.
I absolutely have to make good on that. Maybe I'll just we gotta. I feel like now I have to save it and do that workout with you while you're there to just make fun of me the entire time.
You don't have to do it with me. You don't have to do it with me.
Oh no, he does. Yes, he has to do it.
We're gonna set it up. You're not gonna do the workout with me. You're just gonna do the runs with me and make fun of me the whole time. And then also make fun of me while I'm doing the lifting very slowly.
I'll do the runs with you, and then you've got to do my tactic on the barbell.
Is it 6 in a row and then 4 singles?
It was touch and go on it was 10 unbroken on the first one, and then I think we went like 6 or 7 touch and goes and then singles. That's what I want to see.
Okay, that's going to be a slow running pace then.
Harry, that was the only semifinal workout I did was event 1.
What did you think?
Well, I did it scaled at 135. I love it. I love a good clean and jerk over shoulder overhead, and I like running. That's a perfect distance for me for running. So I did at 135 just to get the stimulus because I'm not as strong or in shape as I used to. But I loved it. I thought it was a great workout. It's CrossFit. I mean, that's how I got introduced to CrossFit, because it was a good love. It was a good balance between lifting weights and running, and it was competitive. So
100%. Yeah. No, that is literally what we when they came out. I remember saying like that first one. I was like, this could just be in a class. Like you could turn up to any box at any affiliate, and that could just be a class workout. So that's all I was thinking about. I was like, this is so good for anyone. I remember I had like an interview earlier in the week, and they were asking about a perfect workout for the beginner, and I was like, let's use this. I was like, let's make it relevant to what we're talking about, because we were talking about semi-finals. I was like, you could use that event 1, for example. Like you scaled up the weight to make it like a similar stimulus for you, so you can finish roughly in the time window. But for someone that's complete beginner, you could make it. Don't even have to make it a barbell. It could be any sort of hinging pattern with a press and a kettlebell swing for all we need. And as a class workout, it was really, really good. So I hope like a lot of people could look at those events and be like, oh yeah, I could give this a go in some sort of capacity. But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do all the other ones. I'm just gonna wait for you for that one. But speaking of Instagram, I could not get past the first sentence on your Instagram, or the first couple words on your Instagram, without having a big question mark come to my mind. It says athlete, and then it says Cornish Dick Whittington.
Yes.
I'm just gonna let you explain that one, although I did do a little research on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did you find out about Dick Whittington?
You want to ask me what I found out about him?
Yeah, I want to ask you.
I found out that he's a historical figure in Europe, and he had a story of he was a poor upbringing, but he tried to make his way to London to find his fortune, believing, quote unquote, that the streets are paved with gold.
Yeah. So I didn't have that poor of an upbringing. Like I was like, I don't want to compare myself there, but I was like, well, people's bios are so boring sometimes. Like athlete. Well, yeah, no, sorry, I said athlete. Athlete, right? Yeah, boring, right? No, but it will say like, I don't know, CrossFit athlete, been starting at this time. I'm from Cornwall. 25 years old. I've featured on the B.Friendly podcast twice. Like it was like it's all pretty safe. And I was like, let's try and think of something different here. And I was like, Dick Whittington made his way to London. And the point I put that when I moved here to Worcester, I was like, I've moved out of Cornwall, moved up to Worcester to find my fortune of like getting to the games and putting myself in this better environment to do it. So no, I'm glad you asked about that, and I was glad you done your research on that. But that's what that was about. It was either going to be that or Bilbo Baggins. I wasn't too sure.
Well, Bilbo Baggins, I know much better than Dick Whittington, but
Maybe
I
I
think
should go with that. If I'm thinking like globally, I want people to get this, and if we want to make it like branch out to the US, I don't think people know who Dick Whittington is, so maybe I'll change it to Bilbo Baggins now.
or you could do the media that you create between going to the CrossFit Games this year and coming back again. You could call it There and Back Again, a CrossFit Games story by Harry Lightfoot.
Look at that.
One step closer. Yeah, one step further.
But I think when I was learning about him and the fact that he put that there, I equated it with a mentality of you moving forward in your career, pursuing something, and having this kind of mentality that it's whatever it's going to take to do that. I'm on the path.
That's it. And like we joke about that, but that's what it was. Like it was obviously like it stemmed over a couple of years. Like it hasn't just happened overnight. But last year for me, we were at semifinals, and my coach and I, Mike, it was Saturday night, so we like knew I think on Saturday we knew we were well out of a qualifying spot, and we were just walking home. We were like, what are we doing? What are we not doing? And can we turn around at the end of this competition and say we've done everything we possibly can to be in the best possible position? Because you can't control the outcomes, can you? It's how well you perform and execute on the day. But if I could, everything I've done before that, every stone that I've unturned leading up to that moment, I could say, yeah, like I've done everything. Then, yeah, that's what we wanted to look at the season. So yeah, that's kind of, it's in there for like paving the way of the goal we want to achieve and where we wanted to get to. So yeah, like I'm always like I like to have a bit of fun with things and don't take myself too seriously. But yeah, like deep down, if you really dig into it, there is like meaning behind something that I've like read or wrote or said or anything like that.
Well, as you kind of alluded to, the journey in the CrossFit space has been relatively short up to this point, only 25 years old. But what was the transition from rugby to CrossFit?
So, like I've answered this question quite a lot recently, and it's cool because like I almost like forget sometimes like how cool that journey's been. And how it sort of started was like playing rugby, load of us, we sort of got into sort of training when we were about, I'd say we were about 13 or 14.
Wow.
And a really close friend of mine used to just run these, we used to call them the Junior Strength Academy. And it was just like a group of us from rugby. We'd all got together. It was very like body weight sort of stuff. That's actually the t-shirt I'm wearing there is the logo of the Junior Strength. And Matt that used to run these, who I ended up working for actually years on, ended up setting up this studio. And that group of lads there, they were like guys I used to play rugby with from 10, 11 years old. And we got into like Matt really like paved the way for us of like finding discipline and how to train. And for us, like young boys, we're like who were more interested in going in and doing bicep curls and stuff like that. He really showed us like the right way of, you don't need to be worrying about what weights you're throwing around and like heavy lifts. It's more about like hypertrophy training and volume and stuff like that. And so that's probably where like found fitness almost. And like fast forward, that was like I said, that was like 13, 14. Fast forward to 17, 18 years old. We were in sixth form. One of my close friends, Luke. This is such weird timing because you're pulling up all these photos that are like perfect timing.
I'm good.
Lads back there, Luke Nicole. So again, really close friend of mine. He would not stop banging on about this thing called CrossFit that he'd found, and he was showing me all these like crazy videos of like benchmark workouts that like Dan Bailey and Rich Froning were doing. And I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool. I don't really get it. And we'd be like in the school gym at like lunchtime or after school. And he'd be like, he'd find, we didn't have barbells then. So we used to just chuck about dumbbells and stuff, and trying to teach me a power snatch with a dumbbell. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And like eventually got me to go down to CrossFit Kerno, which was like our closest CrossFit affiliate in the area. And he was like, right, come down and try it out with me. And I like, again, wasn't fully sold on it. And we got down there, and this was the summer of 2017, I believe. And got down there, and the workout was like pistols and running. And again, I was hooked on it very, very quick. Again, like because I couldn't pick it up very quick. I think maybe for like a lot of us, I was talking to someone the other day about all these athletes you interview, they kind of like fall into competitive CrossFit. They didn't, apart from like your Dallin Peppers that had done it since he was like 13, right? They like fell into the method of training and are very good at it. And it's sort of like cascaded from there. And it kind of like, I think for me, like I've picked up most sports pretty well, and I was okay at it. But this, I was like, I can't do a pistol squat. And I came back the following week, and there was overhead squats, and I couldn't do it with a PVC pipe, but I could do it with 50 kilos racked on, and I just really hooked me that I like couldn't get these things, and the idea that it's varied, and every time you come in, it was something different. I loved, because after that, the like couple of years we were just doing like bodybuilding sort of style of training. So to come in and this is just varied all the time. I loved it. So the like photos earlier with my friend Luke, like that was my first CrossFit competition, and so that was in March. So I would have started CrossFit in July, I think, of 2017. And this is a local gym that doesn't exist anymore called TR4, and they had like a rookie throwdown. And we didn't have rugby that weekend, so we decided to sign up and do it, and and then won it, which was pretty cool. And then I didn't like, that wasn't like the turning point where I was like, cool, I'm going to do this all the time. It just went back to like, we did maybe 1 or 2 CrossFit sessions a week, and then we're still playing rugby. And it would be like any time that we didn't have a rugby match on, I would be trying to like find a CrossFit comp that was on, and I'd be like searching. So like we'd have rugby matches every Saturday, and a couple of weeks in the year like you'd have no matches. So like until it was summer, I'd be like trying to like find a competition where I had a weekend off. So again, this is the first gym I ever like CrossFit affiliate I ever stepped foot inside of, so CrossFit Kerno, and that was my first individual like competition. And I remember like I had a bug the night before. So like almost like, I don't know if you heard about like Emma McQuaid at semi-finals this year. She like slept for 18 hours, didn't eat. Like similar thing happened in here. Like I had a bug the night before, still turned up to this comp. I didn't podium. I was way out. I think I could only snatch 70 kilos, which probably isn't, from the record of me competing recently, isn't actually far off what I snatch now. But
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah, I know. I'd jump in there before you did. But no, yeah. So like that was my first individual competition, and again, like just that I think rugby season had ended. So I was like, right, I've got a summer now. I'll jump in on this one. I can't remember. I think there was like a couple more events in that summer. Like there was 1 and all games going on, which is like a great, really, really good event run down in Cornwall that sells out every year. It's like Tom that runs it has been so lucky with the weather every year because it's on like a bank holiday. That's the one. And they like hire out a running track and they run this competition where they like day one is completely outside usually, and day two is like inside. But this is like day one out on the running track. And again, yeah, just sort of jumped in and did a lot of like competitions through that summer, and then went back into playing rugby in September. And then like in like later years, whilst I was like playing rugby, it would then get to a point where I was trying to find competitions, and I was umming and ahhing whether to go and play or do this competition. At one time, I was like injured from rugby, and I couldn't.
People get injured doing rugby.
Oh, all the time. Like the story that I'm thinking of, like I had a calf injury, and I was ruled out of playing from the physio at our club, and there was a competition that weekend, so I went and did it. And there was double unders, right? And I was like, I can't do that, but everything else I should be fine with. And I think we ended up podium. Oh, that's the one there, yeah. Oh, there was dubs. Okay, I was wrong. So I did do some dubs. And that photo there, I remember coming home, we'd podiumed, really, really good fun. And I got home and my rugby coach had seen a video. So like he'd seen a video of me doing skipping before I posted anything like that. And he was like, I think you know how this looks. Like you said you're injured, or I was ruled out, but now you've just gone and done a CrossFit competition. Like surely you know what this looks like. And I remember like I had to be like sat down by the coaches and that, and close friends of mine in that team, and they were like they were pissed at me. Like they were like, you need to make your decision now. Like, are you gonna do rugby, or are you gonna do CrossFit? And I had a friend called Lev that was like, you can go to the games at any time you want. You can go to the games in your 30s if you want to, but you can't keep playing rugby forever. And I was like, no, they don't quite get it. They don't understand like the levels that come with going to the games and stuff. So yeah, but it was all fun. It shaped me for who I am now. But
how high of a level of rugby did you get up to? Like, what team was that you were on? Because I saw some maybe you're on a U20 team representing Cornwall at some point.
Yeah, so the photos that was county level for Cornwall. So again, like in the UK, like there's like county rugby that goes on towards the end of the season. In Cornwall, the county again loves rugby, and playing county means a lot to a lot of Cornish people. So that was cool. So I played under 20s for Cornwall, and we went on to the finals of like the county championships for our age groups. But then, yeah, rugby wise, I played highest level was National 3. So like 3, 2, 1, like 4 or 5 levels off Premiership or Pro sort of level. Like when you get to like Championship, which is 3 levels above, then you're kind of like professional, but there's not a lot of money in the sport, so you're essentially semi-professional. It's when you get to Premiership, which is the top level, is where you can kind of make a bit of a living off it. So I didn't play that high. I mean, some again, like I won't be ungrateful because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would have liked to have played in the national leagues. So yeah, and I always get people say like, oh, I wonder if I'd stuck at it, what level I could have played at. I felt like I'd met my peak with it. When I sort of was deciding what I wanted to go into, like I was a hooker. Don't get too excited, but I was a hooker. which usually they're kind of like, they're shorter and they're usually a lot bigger, and they're next to like props. Now I like kind of was like similar size to like I am now, so I would be a bit more agile and around the park a bit better. So they put me into a position called a flanker, but you don't get very many 5'8" flankers. They're usually 6 foot plus. They're usually big guys. So I could do all right at the level I was playing at, but I kind of was like, I'm not really. I don't think I'm going to play flanker at any higher level. I could have been wrong. I don't know. We'll never know. But obviously, it was the right decision to change it up.
Yeah, and when those friends and those coaches kind of sat you down and talked to you there, you know, what I heard you say is that you were probably only 19 or 20 years old at that time, but you already had an understanding about CrossFit and the fact that like there were, like you said, there are levels to this, and
Yeah.
you know, from your perception of what you just said about rugby, of where you saw maybe a limit to the ability to rise through those levels,
Yeah.
in the CrossFit world, you saw it differently.
Yeah, but do you know what? It wasn't. I almost have COVID and lockdown to thank because of that, because my mind wasn't fully made up until we hit COVID. So COVID hit. I was March of whatever year, and then obviously all sport, everything stopped in this country. Stopped playing rugby. Now, leading up to that, happy playing rugby. These conversations were going around, but my mind was, oh, I'm here still playing with everyone. I'm having fun. Like I wasn't going to be swayed towards CrossFit. Doing like 1 or 2 CrossFit sessions a week, so not really that much compared to like now. And then COVID hit, and just trained all the time, like no rugby. So I had no excuse. I was like, well, I'm just going to do all the CrossFit I want to do. And just before I'd signed up to like AOD that I'm with now, I signed up to one of their generic programs, but I could only do 2 or 3 of them in the week. So I was like, sweet, I've got nothing to do now, so I'm just gonna do all the training that I want. And yeah, I think if it wasn't for that, I might have still been playing rugby, because I was just doing CrossFit all the time. Then do you remember when like the quarterfinals hit, and over here like gyms were still shut when quarterfinals were happening?
This is the first year of quarterfinals, so
2021.
Yeah. So gyms were still shut, but luckily, like I had a job in one, so like I could kind of train and do like the open and then do quarters, and I had no expectations to like try and go to semis or anything like that. I just loved it for the moment, like was, you know, meeting other friends and training alongside, and finish at quarterfinals, and I did okay. I did like the rope climb workout with the pistols and GHDs was terrible for me back at that time. But if it was like looking back at that, we're like, wow, this is actually not too bad, the scores you're putting in here. And Mike, that now coaches me now, as well as many others, were like, I think you should, like, I don't think you should go back to rugby. You should stick to this and see what you can do. So it was actually after those quarterfinals that I was like, I'm done with rugby now, and I'm gonna pursue this.
I got pulled out some fun stats for you about that year at quarterfinals, and you referenced that was your worst workout. You were not even inside the top 1,500 men in Europe on that workout.
Awful. But I could pull up some videos for you of that, of me trying to get up that rope. It was awful.
But you did really good on the wall ball rowing workout.
Was it that one? And did I not do all right on the snatch one, or am I wrong?
There was one. I did find one snatching workout in your history that you did good on. But that was the next year. It was the
like a really
rowing
heavy bar,
box jump over and the snatches at 185. It was like 3 minute workout or so. You did really well on that. But yeah, you've already acknowledged that snatching has sometimes been a hindrance for you at Wadapalooza this past year and also at semifinals?
Yeah, it's like it's a funny one because to say like last year, do you know the full story of semifinals last year with the snatch bar?
For you,
Yeah.
you're talking
Did I
about
tell you?
2023 or 2024?
2023.
Please tell me.
So briefing Sunday morning, and they're telling us, okay, you're going to be lifting in pounds. So okay, that's not used to that, but that's all right. So we like went away, and because like I just need a bit of time sometimes to process things, and it didn't really process that quick, that like the whole conversion and everything. So I was like really getting overwhelmed from it. And Mike and Adam were writing down everything that I would hit in kilos, converting it to pounds. And I was reading the sheet and I was like, this is still like too confusing for me when we're on the floor. So they really dumbed it down for me. And Adam then started drawing like blue bumper plates, little greens, little blues, like the whole, it was like really, really dumbed it down for me. So took on this piece of paper onto the floor, hit my first one, which was like 111. I think that was my score. That was my opener. And my plan was to hit around 124 to 126 was my plan, whatever that is in pounds. I could tell you, but I don't want to look too good. But I like loaded up the bar, and like I looked back and I'd used both white plates, and I was like, right, okay, that must be right. I go to hit it, I catch it, and then it goes behind me, and I was like, that's all right, I've overcooked it. That's absolutely fine. Like I knew this might happen. I'm not gonna like worry. I'm just gonna move up to the next weight. So I went back and I looked at my piece of paper, and there was no blue, blue, white, white, little blue, little green. I was like, what have I just lifted? So then I like was like looking back. I was like back and forth, and on the tannoy they were like 30 seconds. So I was like, shit, I gotta go for it again. I've got no time to like unload it and put something else on. So I did it again, missed it, and I was like, right, well, we've got another event coming up, so is what it is. So let's try and do well on this second event. I'm touch and go pretty quick. Got on the runner first, and then did all right. But afterwards, went back and I jumped from like 111 kilos to 129 kilos. So I'd accidentally put on 129 rather than something else. So again, like Mike and I always talk about, we try and win and learn. We win and learn. We don't win and lose. So that was just a cock up, a mistake that we learned from. Then there's other things that we all do whilst either training or in competition, which again, like, okay, what went well? What could we do for it to be better if something like this came up again, or next time you're exposed to something similar, it won't be. So, like going to Miami, again, we had, for me, that was like that event there was 2 lifts. Again, it was about execution, and I was like, I'm gonna like not worry. I like the pounds conversion doesn't even worry me anymore. Like since last year, Mike even puts what, like, you're doing this workout at 135 pounds, and I know what it is, and slap it on. So that didn't worry me. It was just that first one at Miami. I just need to execute this, get a lift in, and hopefully the confidence will rise from there. This year's snatch bar, my back blew when I got to that 110 bar, or that the second to last bar. My back was in pieces.
Really?
So like I missed I think it was 3 snatches at that second to last bar. Because all I was drilling into my head was like, keep those shoulders over, like, because these are like typical things that when the bars get heavy, like cues like that just shoot out my mind. I'm just trying to yank it off the floor. And then like a lot of people were like, were you not worried that you were getting close to getting capped? And I like this year compared to last year, I was so cool out there and composed. Like I didn't even realize that I was close to that cap. We got to that one like that last bar and hit the last two lifts fine. But so again, we'll go away to the drawing board and we'll work on that. Because one day, Brian, you'll be interviewing me about a snatch event that went really, really well.
Well, I think someone needs to buy you a set of plates that are in pounds, and you just have to keep them in the corner there.
Let's put that out now. Like someone should send those out.
And then the new objective is just going to be 1 year of lifting only in pounds, so that it becomes familiar.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, like I said, we've pretty much done that, but hey, we'll do some more. We'll do some more.
Or we could just convert to the metric system like everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't want to bring it up, but
no, that's okay. We have a few European listeners that are more than happy to bring up things like that.
Yeah. Hey, I'll push that for everyone.
Hey Reggie, when I first initially was
Reggie.
I'm
Reggie.
sorry. No, that's what. No, Harry.
You can't compare me to that dude.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Should I remove him from the?
No.
He'll love that you got me confused.
No, I don't have you confused because that's what my question's about. It's like Reggie. Sure. You know, do you? I don't know because obviously Reggie had a very similar story of yours where he played rugby. I don't know. I think he might have played at maybe a higher level than you. He's a little bit older than you, but I believe he played Newcastle.
I'm not sure. Like I know Reggie. I similar background of rugby. I'm not sure what sort of level, but yeah, he's from up in Newcastle. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of the same things during COVID. That's when he just like you said, everything shut down, and then he started taking fitness seriously. And for a while there, he was kind of the face of the I guess the up and coming UK male athlete. I just was wondering how do they. In your story and Reggie's story, it seems like CrossFit is kind of integrated into the training for rugby. Is that something that you do on your own, or is that something like the club or the club kind of introduces you to, or do they have like a weightlifting coach where you follow something, or do you just do everything on your own?
Yeah, I think if for anyone looking at what pro rugby players are doing and they're looking at the strength and conditioning side of it, and they'll see like if rugby players are working on their developing their power, they're going to use things like Olympic lifting to some sort of extent. I don't think they'll be doing snatching or anything but they'll be doing some sort of ballistic exercise like a clean or something. So for me, when I saw CrossFit did that, and I was like, I've never been exposed to Olympic weightlifting before. Let's give it a go. Definitely. If there's some sort of CrossFit, and then when I got to see it myself and see that, wow, this is a really good S&C program right here that I can follow, which I think will have really good crossover with my rugby. That's how I sort of saw it as well to do with rugby. So I don't know about Reggie, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a similar thing. Mm-hmm. And that guy likes putting himself in the pain cave as well. So,
is there any sort of pride of being able to represent the UK at the games this year?
Oh, Jake, definitely. Yeah,
Jake's referencing some of the other great men that have competed in the sport of CrossFit, but really, there's not that many men in particular that have come from the UK and had international success yet in CrossFit.
Yeah, no, and like that chap's just said there, for me, people like Will Kane, I've now got to know Will very, very well, and people like Will, Dave, Steve and all that, they've shaped the way and paved the way and opened it up the UK CrossFit scene. So those guys definitely can't go unmentioned at all. But yeah, I think I'm only the fifth male from the UK to be going to the CrossFit Games. So there is an unbelievably a big amount of pride from being there. And I just think, I think I looking at this season as a whole, I've almost more been thinking about how Europe is up and coming. But yeah, like the UK CrossFit scene is growing every year. And it means an awful lot to be included now in that such many names that have gone and have reached the sort of levels that now I've got to. It really, really does mean a lot, but it's even more of a privilege as well to be inside that European field as well as it's growing ever bigger. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But like I said, those names there, like Steve, Will, and David, and all those, they can't go unmentioned at all.
Phil Hesketh, of course.
Yeah, this guy's on. Yeah, Jake's on one. Like he's naming them all.
But I don't think any of those athletes in Brian.
What do you think, though? We are 10 years behind the U.S., but our big names will need to travel and live in warmer climates to get on the top tier.
I don't know about that. I mean, look at the Canadians; they all live in cold weather, and they're in the top tier. So I don't necessarily believe in that, but I mean,
yeah, like look at all the Scandinavians as well, all the guys from Iceland and Finland as well. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, but I think unlike the guys that we mentioned, obviously Steve, David, and all those guys, I think and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they were as young as Harry is when they made their games debut.
I'm not 100% sure of that one, but yeah, I mean,
I think most of those guys, they based on whatever their background was prior to that, they kind of hit CrossFit maybe a little bit later, and they kind of made their name in CrossFit a little bit later. Whereas Harry, I think Harry's kind of seeing the effects of that from learning from those guys, and now you're hitting at that younger age.
Yeah, I'm also mature enough to know that there'll be someone again one day that'll be even younger than me again, and the sport is developing in a way, like take like Dallin and all that lot, like the ages they're getting to it, so yeah, I'm not naive enough to know that there will be someone younger again that's paved the way. Like for me, I think it's been a good journey so far, because I was at a point where trying to think how to put this. You see, like what's happened with like Haley Adams and stuff. A lot of these like young athletes are getting in, and I think they're getting burnt out. Is my opinion, right? They're wanting to wanting to go into this sport. They realize how like tough it is. By the way, I don't know, of course, what's happened with Haley. I'm just using that. Well, for me, like I was still with my friends, playing rugby. I don't know, working, going out, doing all sorts of like normal things. And then I'm like when I like started to think, okay, I'm going to take this seriously, I know I can put all those other things that we all sacrifice on the back burner, because I can do that anytime. Like little things like drinking and going out and socializing a lot, I can like put that on the back burner now. So yeah, and again, there'll be I'm sure there will be someone from the UK soon or in a few years' time that will just put all their chips into that basket from a young age, and so on. Like we've seen over on your stateside, a lot of these youngsters that are getting into it. So,
and just like you mentioned the stateside, and how we're kind of already seeing that in the UK on the women's side, a lot of the younger women have kind of like. Yeah, the Jennifer Mears, the Ella Wilkinsons, I mean, the list goes on. That they've kind of like learned from the Sam Briggs and some of the other athletes, the greats that have come from there. But we've also seen that the women kind of progress a little bit faster than men on the CrossFit side as well. But no, you're totally right. But I don't know. I mean, because you're making it at a young age, I mean, is it one of those things where your mind's like, well, I'm still young. I haven't a lot. This is. because you hear athletes think about this all the time. They make it to the games once, and it's like, well, I'm young, so this is going to be like a yearly thing. Are you taking any of that?
Yeah, see, I don't think like that at all, because I get it a lot, and everyone will be like, "How old are you?" I'm like, 25.
Mhm.
Like, wow, you're young. You've like, the thing you hear all the time is you got time. You got time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have fucking time. Like, they're like I said again. It's like, I know there's always people up and coming, and
Mhm.
like, I want to be. I remember talking to Brent about this in Miami. Like, I want to be in this for the longevity. I want to be making
Mhm.
back-to-back games appearances. And if you've got time and you don't qualify, or you don't do that well, oh, it's okay. I'll go back to it next year. Like, I'll try again next
Mhm.
year. Next year, you're 28, and then I don't know. You're at your peak, and you've only got maybe another couple of years, and you know, compared to like these top guys that are now like in their early 30s, but they've got so much capacity and so much experience behind them already.
Mhm.
So things like, oh, you've got time, and like, in my head, I'm not young. I
Yeah.
am, and I realize that, but I'm not. Like, sport is not a career for life, right? It's such a short lifespan on it. It could go anywhere. Like, it could leave you at any point. So I don't really think like that. Yeah, I don't really think like that.
Do you intentionally seek out conversations like that with veteran
With Brent.
athletes like
Yeah.
Brent in Miami?
No, I think I don't think about that, but like, Brent, like, we were chatting down on the floor there after Miami, and then he kind of just like sort of like snowballed into like all these different like conversations, and it was interesting. It was
Typical
just like,
Brent.
hey,
That's typical Brent.
yeah, it was just a coincidence
Yeah.
that I was like, wow, this guy is thinking exactly like how myself and how Mike like think a lot.
Mhm.
So I think that was just a coincidence, and I was like, yeah, like, this is someone that I like looked up to when I first got into the sport, and he's thinking exactly like how I am if he was 25 again, maybe, you know. So again, like, since Miami, we've kept in contact, and we've chatted a few things, and yeah, no, but that was just a total coincidence. I didn't like go looking for that conversation.
It's there's this thought that always comes to my mind, because some of the topics that we're talking about come up frequently, especially with, what's the best path for a young athlete in this sport. And clearly that path can be slightly different for different athletes. But
Yeah.
when I was first starting to research CrossFit as a sport and a methodology, there was kind of two things going on. Of course, there was all the old stuff, Glassman stuff from 2001 through 2011. Really, there weren't anyone else putting out much content for CrossFit. And then so that's what I read the articles, I watched the videos I could find, whatever. But during that next kind of 7-year stretch, up until kind of the end of 2018, when the media department from CrossFit disbanded and the whole landscape of media changed, there were kind of two other voices in the sport that I thought were really good, kind of guideposts, maybe. And those were, at that time, Pat Sherwood and Ben Bergeron. At least for me, those were the two guys that I listened to a lot. And they were putting ideas out there that I think I hear echoed in people's lives that have become good CrossFitters, good CrossFit athletes and coaches, even affiliate owners. But I don't think that they always know that those things existed. So
No,
like, you basically did the recipe that Ben Bergeron laid out for a young athlete without even knowing that he laid it out.
and that's so funny that you say that, right? Because when you went back through my Instagram, like, I started in 2017, 2018, and the first program I ever followed was Comp Train.
Wow.
You know,
Oh.
so like, I signed up to like the emails, just like we probably all did. But
Mhm.
when you just mentioned Ben, then I just like started like laughing in my head there, like, yeah, like, you're completely right, because that's almost where I started.
Well, if you want to get a good laugh, go look up, I think it's called the 2030 CrossFit Games champion. he probably made that podcast or released that episode in like 2015. And he
Okay.
almost to a T describes what you described doing rugby and the way that you transitioned into CrossFit.
Interesting. Okay. 2030 CrossFit athlete, you say?
So, he's basically saying, oh, well, this would be if I was going to write the prescription for someone to win the CrossFit Games in 2030. And now, right now it's 2015. They're probably going to be 28 years old by the time they win, which means they're 13 years old now. Let me walk you through what I would do with a 13-year-old if I wanted to get him to be the CrossFit Games champion by the year time they're 28. So it's kind of weird. You might enjoy that if other people, especially if anyone's listening to this and they know young athletes that are very, very interested in CrossFit or pursuing it to that level. I think it's a good listen because there's athletes like Harry that didn't even know about it that have kind of done that, and you see the results. And there's other athletes that have had great results at a young age. But we've even spoken to some of them where it's not been publicly known, but they end up getting into this period of time between 18 and 23 years old, where there's a lot of uncertainty, doubt, fear, and maybe burnout or a combination of these things that can happen. All right, Harry, we've learned a lot about you today. Background, that was actually super cool. I really like getting the chance to kind of know where people come from. Was Miami the first time that you came to the US?
Not this past year, year before, right?
Year before, that's it. We went team.
The AOD team.
AOD team, yeah. Boys with feelings.
Yep. That was I love that.
And do you remember being a young man at any point and dreaming about eventually taking a trip to the US?
No offense to you guys. The US is never totally always like something. Like it's not the first place I'd want to go to, but it was one of those places one day I'd like to go to. But I think again, like it's quite a Cornish thing to be like quite narrow-minded and comfortable with living in your county and just having your friends and that. And I kind of like I didn't really have big aspirations to travel, but like now I've got a reason to. Like I can't wait. I can't wait now to come to Texas. I can't wait to, try and qualify for Rogue. I can't wait to sort of move. Where am I going to go next? I can't wait. So it's go back to younger me. Completely different.
Well, a lot of these athletes, they get to be, they're early to mid 20s and they realize that they're good enough at this, that they have the opportunity to travel. And it's cool to hear that that's like kind of on your radar. Because I always tell the athletes that ask, hey, should I go to Dubai? They invited me over there. I'm like, man, if you can find a way, go. That, like you said earlier, like those opportunities aren't going to be there forever.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. So,
and my advice to you, and I don't know if you were able to do this when you came to Miami, is spend a couple days afterwards. That way you actually, get to see what it's about, whether you like it or hate it. But, obviously, I don't know what your travel plan is for Texas, if you plan on coming in to Texas earlier or to another training camp or what you have planned, but definitely try to, experience as much as possible when you make these trips.
Yeah, no, like it's always the idea is we always say, we'll stay a couple more days. But I'm like with Miami this year in January just gone. Unfortunately, it was just like money, finances. Like couldn't stay a little bit longer, and I would have liked to. Obviously, this year going back, we were like a bit more comfortable, kind of have an idea of what we need to do. So we flew in, trained, competed, flew back, and that's fine. But I'm seeing what I can do this year for Texas. I'd like to spend a few more days out there and get an idea because I always say I'm going to spend a bit longer there, but never. Like the last 2 times I've been to Miami, I haven't. I've just flown back the day after, 2 days after.
Well, with that day we talked to you, was that you were able to walk around?
That's what we did. That was on the Saturday, wasn't it? So we were waiting for Will to finish, and then I think we flew back on Monday.
Yeah. So, what'd you think about like kind of like after competing, kind of walking around, experiencing it? Because I know the prior year, like you said, you were competing all the time. So was it fun? Did you have fun just kind of soaking it in?
Oh, Miami is fun in general.
Yeah.
Like I want to do it again this year. But
Mhm.
we'll just see. We'll see what we will plan after the games. But yeah, it's cool. Like I think a lot of people could learn a lot off like comps like that. Like there's so much going on. The vendor villages are great. The atmosphere is
Mhm.
great. Um, and then yeah, like we got to go like downtown Miami a bit and soak all a bit of that in. So yeah, loved it. It was really really cool. And I even like walking around and like people recognize you from the floor, and that was quite
Mhm.
nice as well to be acknowledged. It was really cool. I got like nothing bad to say about it at all. Just I can't wait to do it again one day.
Yeah.
Have you, you guys finished up semifinals? Well, actually, I just want to ask you about semifinals first, because when I've seen you at competitions over the last years, you always have a decent amount of confidence in yourself, self belief, which I think is great. I mean, it's kind of depressing as an athlete to show up to a competition and not have that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the performance that you put out at semifinals was reflective of what you were expecting that this year? Better or worse, or how did you evaluate that?
I hate the phrase when people come out and say, my placing on that leaderboard wasn't a true reflection of my ability. So I hate that because like it was like on that day that was the best you could have executed, right? Um, the everything leading up to event 5, yeah, happy, and I was, again we were practicing those events. I was performing like quicker on the floor than I was in training, and in training we were like, who knows? Like my like mantra is like training scared all the time of not being complacent, not knowing like people were thinking, oh, that's surely a good score. But Mike and I were like, yeah, but we don't know. We're going into the toughest region in the world now. Like, who fucking knows what a good score in these events are?
Mhm.
Like the handstand walk event, like I in the gym like can be quick, like, but I don't know where I fare with the rest of these boys. Like,
Mhm.
got to put that aside. The final 2
That was a
events
wild. That was a
was
wild finish to watch, by the way.
that was when I got back onto that last row. I was like, okay, we're on. We're on now. Like, let's let's see if we can win this event. And then everyone got off. That was it. 3 of us got off the row, or Lazar got off first, and me and Yola got off next. And I was like, this is crazy. And it was like the crowd was going nuts.
Mhm.
That was class. I loved that event. I'm so surprised. More people didn't do the roll. I was like, you all got the chip timers on your ankle, so
The
do the
roll
roll. Get
forward. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And like I said, in all fairness, like Tom Kingdom did that in the prior heat. I was like, little shit, he stole my idea. But no, it was all like he'd done that
Dude,
first.
what about this one? In the East Coast, Danielle Brandon didn't even stop walking. She just kept walking on her hands all
Yes,
the
I've
way
seen that.
across.
I've seen that, and I was like, I don't know if that's a flex or if that's just or what. I didn't really see why she did that, but
I'm not sure if the distance from the red line to the red mat was the same. I think it was a lot smaller in the East. I think you guys might have had a little bit further to go, but
yeah.
the rule is that the chip just has to cross the timer, but
Mhm.
that the sensor doesn't go up that high. So the chip reading didn't get the exact reading at the moment. So they had to go back and review it. And
Well,
just
that's
like
what I
in
mean.
your
Like,
region, the
otherwise, they'd
tenths
be
of
putting it around
seconds.
your neck.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, belt collar.
well,
Yeah. So what's the point in it being on your ankle?
because it's closer to the sensor. So it's
Exactly.
the
It's like,
most accurate. Yeah,
do
yeah.
you see what I mean? I'm like that. So I don't know if that was just a flex from her or whatever, but yeah,
Yeah,
no,
put
like,
on the wrist, I guess.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
But no, like it was semi-finals this year was a near perfect performance. The 5th event was just like a shame. Like back really blew come that second to last bar. I'd hit it quicker in training and messed up, and I was like, that's fine. Like did my typical thing of like my cues left my head and started getting lazy with everything. I was like, I can do it quicker on the day, and I didn't. And again, it was like what we can learn from that. The going into the last event, I knew I wasn't like in the clear. Like I knew like it doesn't matter as long as you finish it, you're going to the games. And we had a plan. We have a plan. Like Mike and I will plan out everything to a T, visualize everything before we're going into an event. And we had a plan, did everything like that leading up to that last event. And that last event, I went against the plan and tried something different. And it was stupid. Like my plan was, it was a grip thing for me with those dumbbells. And it was like every 24-foot increment, down, regrip, go. And I did it on the first one. It was like a second or two, lunged, and then I saw in the corner of my eyes guys putting it down, and I could see the last 24 foot, and there's the red line. And I was like, fuck it, I can do it. I'm gonna go. But it was just, again, like it goes back to that win and learn. We learned that was so dumb because you weren't in. I hadn't earned that spot, that right to just go for it because I wasn't safe. And yeah, they slipped out my hands, as we saw a lot of guys in other regions doing. And I had to come back, and I was like, shit, I am really not sure about that last one. I think I've made it really unsafe for me now. So yeah, again, it was like a near perfect performance when, you know, we're talking, like the chap said earlier when he messaged about Dave and that. Dave came in last year to semis and executed everything perfectly, and that's what the last 12 months have been about, is priding myself on execution. So that last event in particular is one that I wasn't pleased about. But
well, you know, that I think, I mean, look, certainly you're not happy with the finish. You know, you maybe, but I don't mind the risk there. Like I think that it's sometimes as athletes you have to take those risks. And I was actually talking with Hopper after the East Coast Regional because he took a couple risks towards the ends of workouts at semifinals, and it was conscious. You know, like he, just like you saw them doing that, you decided to go for it. And it's like I love the mentality, the win and the learn that you talk about. You know, you go back, you look at it, but if you never take the risk, then you never know. And there are times to do it, and maybe times not to do it. But
yeah,
you know, so I don't
and
mind
I
it.
agree with you. Again, like Brent Fikowski in Miami was like, he was telling me about like, if there's an event that pops up that you are like, this is my jam, you have to back yourself to go out there and win it, and you have to try. So you have to go somewhere that you don't think you can go, and you have to get out your comfort zone and you have to try these things. And we were like, you know, like that handstand walk event. Like I knew, for me, it was about rowing at my 2K pace, or as close to my 2K pace as possible, and backing the speed on my hands and having to go for it. And that's exactly what I did when I went into that one there. And I remember like saying, like, do you remember those points to performance or whatever they say? And they're all about, it's all about the row. I disagreed because I was like, in my head, a lot of guys are all going to be rowing at their 2K pace, surely, or they're going to be similar paces. It's going to come down to handstand walk speed. And I think for those top finishes, it came down to that, didn't it? You know? So yeah, like,
You mean, you know, the guys in Europe well. You tell me. If it's a 2K row, is Victor Hoffer winning the workout?
If it's a 2K, I don't know too much about the guy on the machines.
Well, I can tell you he's not going to beat Yellow Hoste in a 2K row.
No.
But he did beat him on that workouts. So both
Yes,
parts of that workout were relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so very valid, right? But yeah, it's good. Like I said, that last event, I should have been more clued up that I was not in a position to take a risk. And like, luckily it's like you said, we say like high risk, high reward, right? If you took that risk, it could have paid off and you're a hero, right? But then for me, it was high risk, no reward, almost lost the game spot potentially. And guess what? I say it again, we'll learn from that. And when I'm in another position like that, I will not cock up like that again.
Do you remember what your mental state was between the time that you finished that workout and when they announced you to go to the games?
Yeah,
I do.
that was a question I wanted to ask. Like, what's going through your head during this moment, before the
Yeah.
moment, during this moment, and after?
Do you remember how long it was? It was like 15 to well, it felt like 15, 20 minutes to me.
It was, yeah, it was I would say maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, there you go. It felt like that to me. And because I'd kind of seen in the back what scores were going through, like even in this video here, I don't know if you can see, like my eyes are like they're going from every TV trying to see if it's like coming up or if it's going to come up for. But that time just standing there, I was looking around, I was catching like my coach, like Harry, Ads, and Mike were all at the side. I was catching their eye and they just looked unsure. Then I was looking around and I was going through waves of emotions of being like, I've either done this or I've fucked it. Like I have really messed this up. So that video is brilliant because it's just like relief as soon as my name was called out. Because I remember as well, like they were calling everybody out and they said 4th place. I think it was Victor Hoffer, 4th place, wasn't it?
Victor
no, it
was 6th.
Right. So they were going around. They went to whoever it was 4th. I can't remember. And then they brought the camera over to
Aniol,
me.
Luca.
Aniol, that's it. And they brought the camera over to me, and I was like, I started welling up, thinking I've somehow kept 5th place. Like I've done it. And then they announced whoever, and I was like, shit. And then they just kept listing people, and 7th BKG, and I was like, this camera is here to film my reaction on missing out on the games. And then, like I said, at the start of that video there, I just looked like a mess because I'm just like, I don't know if this camera is going to film me missing out. And then it was just relief. It was just relief. And it was like, don't cry on camera. Wave, say thank you to everybody. And then it was a sense of like, you dropped from 5th to 8th, you idiot. But like, it doesn't matter, does it? Right now, like you've done it, you know. So yeah, I very, very well know what I was feeling like after that event.
Were there tears at any point that day?
I've not cried at all. It's like, I don't know if it like fully, I don't know if it's like fully sunk in or what yet. I'm not sure. Because it was like, yeah, I, you know, you can't control an outcome. I carry confidence, but I'm not one of those guys. You meet others that are like, yeah, I'm going to qualify this, you know, and that works for them. I carry confidence in myself, but I'm almost like a bit superstitious. Like Englishmen don't cry. That's right, Jake. I carry confidence in myself, but I'm almost like superstitious. Like I don't want to say, yeah, I'm going to the games this year without going there and performing first. So yeah, like I was confident with where like that's what my goal was and that's what I wanted this year. And yeah.
When besides the people that are on site there with you, you know, your coaches and whoever else, when you end up getting a chance to go back by yourself, go to your phone, you know, you're going to have messages on there. Are there 1 or 2 people that come to your mind? It's like, this is who I want to talk to. This is who I want to call. This is who I want to see.
Yeah. Like you've got, like I said, like all my close ones up here, my girlfriend were with me. On my phone, like when I go into competition anyway, I blank everybody, and everyone that really knows me knows that I do that. They're all great. They all don't expect a reply, and that means a lot to me because they really know me. They know that I'm ignoring them because I'm just dialing down on what I need to do. And I want to get back to everyone, right? Like, because the support that I've had and the messages I've had has been incredible. And like I I always feel guilty. Like I want to give something back. Like, and even if it's just a message to show like how much I appreciate it. Because you can feel that support. There's people I've never met that are messaging with support, and it's like that means so much to me, and it will mean a lot for me carrying on now. Because again, I qualified, and I was like, great. I hope this is the start of my career now, and these are the people that I will rely on, and they're backing me. So I want to give something back to them. So yeah, I want to get back to everyone if I can, but everyone again that knows me knows how bad on my phone I am. So you need like 3 to 5 working days to get a reply from me anyway. It's bad.
Hey, I don't think that's a bad thing in this day and age. There's way too many people that are way too good about getting back to things on their phone.
Yeah.
It's good to be present where you're at and enjoy what you're doing and the people around you. So since making it, obviously it's a goal off the checklist, I'm sure, to qualify for the CrossFit Games. And we have heard from athletes throughout the years that games training is a different beast. And have you experienced something similar with Mike as you guys are gearing up for Texas?
It's funny really, because like leading into semifinals, we were expecting more like there was more like skills elements that were thrown into semifinals last year. So we've done a lot of that leading into semis this year. Didn't pop up as much, like it was just pure CrossFit, which was great. So now it's like it's been quite cool. Like it almost feels like we've been training for the games all year. But then there's things like like we're adding back in the Go Rucks again. We did a lot of that leading into semis before the events came up. But like we're adding all that back in. We're trying to expose ourselves to more. We're used to those like 20-40 minute workouts max. When like we said earlier, we could be doing something as big as that twice in a day with 5 events in total that day. So we're then trying to expose ourselves to anything that might pop up. Like we're going kayaking next week. Who knows? I know it's going to be hot over there, so like the likelihood of that might not have a show, but never say never. And it's fun, right? It's fun, right? Because like you've earned the right to do that sort of stuff and all this sort of different, cool, fun stuff. But again, I was saying again, like Brent message, and he was like, a lot of people that go as their rookie year think they need to smash it and reinvent the wheel and change everything about their training. And we're catching up about just sort of what things to expect from training for the games. And which is nice. Like we've got someone like an insider who's got plenty of experience to hand some down to my coach again, that will help him for hopefully many more athletes to come through AOD that will qualify for the games, but also for myself. But yeah, like we're just enjoying it. Like Amy and me are back training together. We spent the whole.
She's coming on here tomorrow.
I do, yeah. She did want to try and do it like together. I was like, but she's like been busy today. But no, I've seen that she's on tomorrow, so I'll be looking forward to watching that.
We need her. We've got way too many European men coming on the show. We need a couple of women.
We need some more girls in here. Yeah. That's what the UK would say. That'll be fun. You'll enjoy.
I can only handle so many European men in my life.
Yeah. That's right. I hope I'm one of them.
They put comments like this up here.
Yeah.
Suddenly I want a pasty and a pint. Go figure. Hey, have you guys ever had a pasty or a Cornish pasty?
I have.
I'm never sure if the comments that these guys are putting up are safe to show or not.
So that's fine. Ginksters is terrible. That comment should be deleted. They're like, Ginksters is a type of pasty. They're actually made in the town that I'm from, in Callington, Cornwall. They are awful. And if I ever find out you two have had a Ginksters pasty and you love those, I'll probably disown you both. But maybe if you guys come on over, I'll get you a proper pasty sorted.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm definitely planning some trips.
Jake Chapman's a huge Love Island fan. Do you watch Love Island, Harry?
Not really. No, it's on way too late. It's past my bedtime.
But then CJ says that B.Friendly is the Brit box of fitness these days, which over my head again, but I think we'll take it.
Harry, I did have a question here, and Brian, myself and Brian will fully appreciate this. your infatuation with someone that me and Brian kind of grew up, not idolizing, but your infatuation with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've like buzzed my hair a bit. Like I need to go get a haircut now, but I almost thought of dyeing my hair for semi-finals, and I was like, do we go with some sort of like green leopard print thing?
Yes.
But I ended up like not going for it in the end. The Rodman thing, right? I watched Last Dance once during COVID, and I was like, this guy's fucking cool. I like him. And then I keep making things like, I'm the Dennis Rodman of CrossFit. I can point blank tell you now, I'm really not. Like, if I don't get, I'm in bed on time, I get all my sleep, I make sure I'm eating everything properly, I track everything. When this guy,
there's no blow hookers and poker at 3 a.m. the night before a championship match.
No, I literally just got them all out before we started this.
Okay. Damn it! You didn't have to do that. You could have just kept them on. It would have made it more interesting.
Yeah. But no, we was again this actually got brought up yesterday, and Mike was like, Harry could not be anything further from Dennis Rodman. He is the complete opposite. He's like, this guy has a meltdown if he doesn't get enough sleep.
Well, definitely bring the jersey to Texas.
I will be, don't worry.
Wear it to the athlete dinner or the athlete briefing or something like that.
I need to expand on that. That's the only basketball jersey I've got.
Oh, well, you could.
Okay.
I mean,
just
give us a little hint of the athlete that you're, who you like now. You like Luka Doncic? He's getting his ass kicked in the finals.
Again, going back to that, Mike yesterday was like, he's more like Steve Kerr than fucking Dennis Rodman.
Bill Wennington. We'll get you a Bill Wennington jersey.
So now I need to get some more jerseys. I'll get that. Maybe I'll sort that out when I come over in the summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll be in the Dallas area, so there'll be plenty of Mavericks jerseys. But
drop a hint, put it out there. You never know, man. I would not be surprised if someone does end up buying you a set of bumper plates in pounds or the right jersey if you put it out there.
When I come over, please, can you sort me out with some bumper plates and a couple of jerseys?
There you go.
And I'll bring a pasty.
It seems like a fair trade.
Fair trade.
Well,
all right, Harry.
Yeah.
We're at the 90-minute mark here, so we really appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. Learn about your past and, also your thoughts with training, competing, leading into your rookie year at the games. I think it's great that you have that. Michael Allen is the guy you've been talking about. He's obviously got a ton of experience and some really good guys in your corner there in England. It's cool that you kind of organically developed that relationship with Brent. He had a very good rookie year, by the way. Won 4 events his rookie year, so who knows? But we'll be looking for you, and we'll be 50-50 on if we are going to be interested to see if there's a snatch event at the games or not.
I might surprise you.
The next competition, no matter what it is, that there's Harry Lightfoot and a snatch event, I'm going to be watching.
Yeah. I got a lot of hopes for this guy.
For better or worse, you're going to see something. You're going to see something entertaining.
Yeah. No, thanks for that, mate. That was brilliant.
Well, good luck with the run up. Let us know when you're coming to town. I'll be down there most of the week, so maybe we can at least catch up and say hi.
No, that'd be cool. It'd be great to see you guys. All right. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah.
Right,
don't give tell Amy that we're completely nice and it's all easy questions. We want to surprise her tomorrow.
Honestly, if they're easy, that's fine. Make them easier and they'll be fine.
Thanks, Harry. See you around.
Cheers.
Harry Lightfoot, rookie debut at the games coming up in a couple months, and appreciate him taking the time. Cool to get the background, cool to get kind of where he's at now, and we'll be excited to see him compete this season against a really, really good men's field, but he already did that in Europe, competing against a great slate of men over there. Tomorrow we got Amy Kringle, as we were talking about, and then Georgia Pryor and Peter Ellis come up on Sunday night with Bella here in the States. If you guys have not had a chance to yet, you can head over to B.Friendly Fitness to see what Chad Mueller put together in terms of part 1 of a 3-part blog that he's going to be vlog from Syndicate Crown that he followed me around and put together these, but they're about 20 minutes each. I think the second one will be dropping later today, but we got some good feedback on the first one, so appreciate those who have watched it. Just gives a little different perspective on what it's like to be in my shoes at one of these events. There it is. The second one's coming up. When is it coming up? Later tonight?
5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern. Yeah.
So check those out. And then, as always, thank you to HGR CBD. Been keeping me going as I get back into training here while I have 10 days at home. Been a supporter of the show the entire year. And PC, I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah. I mean, great show. Obviously, getting to know Harry. He was just down in Miami this past January. Was it January? God, see, so long ago. But just learning so much about him. I mean, I feel like we could have talked for a while with him, and I'm kind of bummed. I mean, just as we bring guests on, I'm getting more bummed that I'm not going to be at the games and I'll be watching it, instead. But it's just really cool that to get an opportunity to meet not just these rookies, but just great people. But just like everyone that follows us obviously are great people, especially the ones that support us. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, see you guys tomorrow with Amy Kringle. Same time tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. What is that? 9 o'clock Pacific. So yeah, with that being said, be friendly, our friends.